One more time. On this episode, we talk about contradictions, text on top of Instagram photos, and the female version of me? This is Gary Vaynerchuk, and this is episode 105 of the Ask Gary V Show, a very special weekend edition of the Ask Gary V Show. I hope you're enjoying your weekend. I hope this starts it off right with the right amount of energy. And India. By the way, before we go to India, let's get into the show. If you don't have this book, I'm massively upset with you. India, let's get into the show.
Q Studios Inc. asks, Gary V, as a successful solo entrepreneur, do I have to grow my business bigger than I can handle alone?
Q Studios Inc., it's a great question. I think the answer to that question is completely predicated on what you want in life. I mean, you've set up the question by saying you're a successful solo entrepreneur. Are you making the monies and are you fulfilled enough to keep it at a one-woman, one-man show? I mean, to me, I can't answer that for you. I just had an interesting conversation with AJ. Our professional ambitions are in a different place. Everyone's are. If you want to build a bigger business, you need to build it outside of one person. You can only be so big, but maybe what you're getting and what you've got and how it goes appeals to you. I find a lot of people not being able to be good managers. They love to micromanage. They're romantic and obsessive about what they do. They don't allow other people to come into their ecosystem, and they struggle with the growth curve, and they get just a little exponential growth. They go from making $73,000 a year to 113, but it comes with a lot of pain because they don't like it. They're introverted, they're solo acts, they're flawed in building out a big business, but incredibly good and happy at doing their thing. So it's not about, making more. There's really a fine line of like making more money, but giving up too much of your happiness for that bigger money amounts. And then there's probably a place where that money justifies what you want. But to me, doing what you love and doing it the way you love to do it is really, really, really important. I happen to be lucky that also creates wealth and big dollars, but for the people that it doesn't, they need to reconcile. And look, what I don't get is a lot of other things, which is, kind of the relaxation or the lack of pressure that comes along with some of the smaller plays. But I can't answer this question for you. You need to know yourself. This goes back to all the self-awareness stuff that I'm trying to put out. This goes back to yesterday's video about, or a couple days ago video of, a day in a life where a lot of people critique, my work-life balance, my family time, this, that. And the reason that video ends with, that's me, now do you. That's a perfect way. Actually, D-Rock, link up the, give me 13 seconds of the day in the life video. You know I'm 100% right. You just do. I'm super glad we're connected, brother. All right, now I'm back. And so, I think it's on you.
Adam asks, you say 1, play to your strengths, 2, don't worry about small details. What if my strength is attention to detail?
Adam, couple things, and this is for the entire Vayner Nation. So many of the things that I say are contradictions. I like pulling from both directions. That's where I think the strength comes in. I really do think of life, business as a bridge. If you pull equally very hard, ego, humility, right? I don't care what anybody thinks about me. I care about what everybody thinks about me, right? Big picture, clouds, but I'm a practitioner. I know more about all the details of social than you. Details, dirt. And so I love pulling from opposite directions. So if I'm giving advice and you're listening to 105 composite shows and things are coming from different angles that are contradictions, this is where you have to go within yourself and not listen to a guru, because I'm not one, nor is anyone else. This is on you to figure out that. And so if your strengths are, to me in that one, you bet on your, to me, look, I can answer these in detail and I will this time. I would bet on the strengths. Cool, you're detail oriented. You need to recognize two things. If your skill set is detail oriented, two things are gonna happen. One, if you're the number one, if you're the top dog, your company, your business is gonna be small. Number two, you're probably an awesome number 2, 3, and 4 to a number one that goes all the way out to the clouds and doesn't care about the details. And you may be able to make more finances or whatever you're looking for and be happier and not have the pressure of being the number one by laddering up or attaching yourself to a number one and acting your 2, 3, 4 role. If your strength is the finite details, your upside is limited as the number one. You have two decisions to make. One, you're cool with that, back to the first question in this show. Or two, you're gonna latch on to somebody who's gonna be able to elevate, and your 8%, your 20%, your 40%, your 2% of the whole nut is gonna be greater than 100% of what you're gonna do for yourself. Yeah, that was sharp. There was a sharpness to that. Cutting people with my answers.
Rusty says, I don't get it, Facebook. You decide to not show my book page to people. Do you think a lack of success will make me give you more money?
Rusty, I feel you, but you know, Facebook is like any other medium in the world. You know, like, you know, Fox channel network to put your commercial for your book isn't gonna just do it for free. The Yellow Pages isn't feeling your book, and so they're just gonna put it in there for free. Like the Postal Service isn't like, oh rad, your book was creative, let's just ship out flyers for your book for free. This notion that Facebook, because it started as a social network, is not giving free organic reach to people. And what, you want my money? Yes, they want your money because it's one of the most efficient ways to actually deliver content to people in the world, right? You know, like, you know, cool, use the alternative of free, which is what? Use the alternative of Facebook and keep staying free, which is what? Email? Cool, build your list, do your thing. Hit that Google, you know, button, boom, MailChimp in the house, great, awesome, phenomenal. Show me that you can build that list. That's just the way it is, and I think people's feelings are hurt, but Facebook, the business world, the market, doesn't give a crap.
Listen Give asks, our co-founder has been said to be the female version of you. Do you think society is ready, and would she be treated the same?
Listen Give? India, you are picking some doozies on this weekend edition of the Ask Gary Vee show. This one's got me up to a higher level. As you can tell, the female version of me, who I think is Misha Vaynerchuk, my daughter, I'm watching it, though I can already see some differences, which is too bad. At first I thought it was like a carbon copy. But I love her perfectly the way she is. No, I think if there was a female version of me right now, she would struggle more because the truth is society is flawed and white males get away with more things than minorities, than females. And so I think the world's a lot more ready than it was 5 years ago or 10 years ago or 15 years ago, definitely. But do I think, you know, cursing, I mean, if we're going carbon copy, you know, cursing and that level of ego and that combativeness of loving the competition, I think it would be less palpable to the masses, which is massively unfortunate, and I hope that day will change. At the same token, I think that I don't think people recognize how much smaller my audience is by me being me. A lot of people see the plus side of it. I am not consumable to a lot of people. There's 3 to 4 little tweaks that I'm fully in control on to change in a heartbeat that would make me much bigger. I'm just not willing to do that. And I would hope that your co-founder, right? Yeah. I hope that she is just her all the way through and let the chips fall where they fall. I hope she doesn't hedge or tries to waver. Much like I hope she has no interest in trying to be just like me if she's passionate about me in a way that I try not to be like anybody. There's an incredible, it's the most cliche word right now in the game, authenticity, but it is stunning how much truth there, you know, it's kind of like stereotypes. Stereotypes are uncomfortable, but like, let's get raw. Like, there's some truths to stereotypes, that's how they become stereotypes. Authenticity is a cliche buzzword, because there's some truth to it. People really appreciate you rolling the way you're rolling. People really appreciate when I meet them in real life. They're like, I mean, it's still stunning to people. Like, oh, damn. You know, I mean, I'm sure at episode 100, you guys had people coming up to you and saying, like, oh, wow, that's how he is in real life. right? Like people expect, there's a cynicism, and that's why authenticity over indexes. And so I highly recommend, so the answer to your question is no, I don't think it's as accepted as me, and I think that's unfortunate, but that's just the real, my true answer. 2, I hope that doesn't change any of her behavior.
Daniel asks, how do you think overly edited photos and text overlays affect the authenticity of Instagram posts?
Daniel, thank you so much for a wonderful question. Just off the back of authenticity, so you must have been thrilled. You know, I think it's what you're trying to accomplish. I think that if you're a photographer trying to catch the wild, like you can't edit and put words over it. But if you roll like me, where like a lot of things, like you want to inspire people to think differently or make them feel something, it's really powerful to put a quote of yours on top of a photo. I really do think it's the strategy, the will, the interest of the content producer to really make this judgment call. What I like most of all about this question is how Instagram really works. The ability to unfollow somebody on Instagram is so easy, and this is a subtle product thing that I don't think people spend enough time on. People's ability to unfollow somebody feels so native as you're scrolling that, you know, at the end of the day, content's gonna find its audience if it's good, and whether that's highly edited or super raw or black and white or booty shots or inspirational quotes or whatever it is, it's going to find its audience. And so I think it's something that people should not overthink in either direction, right? It's not a tactic that automatically makes it pop, and it's definitely not a tactic that's gonna cripple you. It just needs to be right. I actually think you've said it best, which is authenticity has nothing to do with the actions, it has to do with the seed of where this comes from. If you authentically, like me, want to put things like kill it or crush a face today or whatever you want to say on top of a picture, that's what's coming from me. That's why I think my audience finds it attractive. In the same way that if all of a sudden on my Instagram feed I'm taking sunset shots of New York City, people are gonna be like, that's just not who I am, right? And that's why I yell at D-Rock, always trying to edit and shit, and that's it. Right? Like that's it. So I think your question's got the answer in it, which is the word authenticity. If it comes from the heart, to have quotes on top of it and edit it, cool. If it doesn't, cool. Cool? Question of the day. What is the app you are spending most of your time on right now? Little market research of the Vayner Nation right now for all of us. I highly recommend everybody watches everybody's responses because you'll learn, it's interesting. It's sharing the data. Share your damn data with me this weekend. You keep asking questions, I'll keep answering them.